All right, good morning, traders. Today is June 27, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. I want to thank everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you so much for following my content. Thank you so much for the kind words, the thumbs up, the following, all of it, the likes, all of that. I appreciate that. Everything on YouTube and Twitter and X and Facebook. Thank you so much for all of the kind comments over the years. Thank you, Bob Jordan. Appreciate that. Love that. He's been with me for a couple years. Thank you so much. That helps inspire me. Again, I try to provide actionable, profitable lessons and content every single day to bring value to the channels that I have created. Thank you so much, everybody out there. All right, let's go ahead and get down to yesterday's summary. All right, we had some really big news yesterday. I think XLK hit a new all-time high. I think QQQ hit a new all-time high. All right, so my SPY pivot this morning, 610.80 above, and I'm a bull below, and I'm a bear. All of the Fab 5, that's SPY, QQQ, IWM, Diamond Dow, and FNGU, all of the Fab 5 are in daily uptrends. All right, all made higher highs and higher lows, closing over their traps and over their 17 EMAs. SPY last night or yesterday closed with a 2-hour uptrend and a 10-minute uptrend. Gold and silver still both in daily uptrends. Gold made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under its 17. Silver on the opposite side made a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over its 17 EMA. USO in a daily uptrend still. USO made a higher high and a higher low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. UNG starts a new downtrend yesterday, made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. US dollar index in a downtrend. We like that. As investors, we like that. As consumers, it sucks, because our dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. All right, so U.S. dollar index in a downtrend. Weak dollar means, that means our goods and services that we sell to foreign countries, it's just going to be more competitive against other nations selling the same goods and services. Hopefully they pick us because we got a weaker dollar. I mean, they're going to need to convert their currency to our currency in order to pay us. So having a weak dollar makes the conversion rate more closer to, 1-to-1, a little bit cheaper, all right, for them to purchase our goods and services when we have a weak dollar. So we like, as investors, we like weak dollar, all right? As consumer, no, not so much. All right, SPY Max Pain, 607, with a put-to-call ratio today of 1.68 puts for each call that expires today. Don't forget, next week, Friday, I think Friday's the 4th, we're going to be closed, all right? So when we're picking options this week, we're going to probably choose 6 DTE that expire on Thursday as opposed to Friday. And the only reason we're choosing Thursday option this week is because Friday we're going to be closed. That's the only reason. Other than that, we like Friday options. We like Friday options on the multiple of 5. For instance, 615, 610, 605, 620. All right? That's what we like, all right? On the multiple of 5. All right? So, hey, let's go take a look at some charts. Let's look at, well, you know what? We got, let's take a look at 5, MAG, M-Chip, Joby. Got some stars on some of these bulls down here. So let's just take a peek at them real quick. And I'm going to slide this out of the way. Let's drop this down. Let's pick up daily chart. Let's pick up, yeah, this is fine. Let's pick up BYOB. So BYOB was one of them. So you can see BYOB breaking out over the base right here. So BYOB igniting candle right there. So I got BYOB star for a nice breakout. Hopefully it makes a higher high than right up here. Obviously there's sellers up here, so be careful if you get up there. Got to get up over those sellers anyways, okay? You can see you got a big wick up there in the sky. There's going to be sellers up there. Take some, for me, I take quick profits when I see big wick over to the left. If they get up there and hold, then that's different, okay? But chances are my first time getting up there, I will take some quick profits, see where price finds support, and then take it from there, okay? So watch BYOB. Let's watch FIVE. All right, look at 5 breaking over the base right over here, coming back up to that wick again. In that wick, I'll be taking profits if I'm in it. All right, because that's where sellers were located before. So 5 breaking out of the base right there. Let's take a look at MAG. Okay, you can see MAG kind of pull back the bow. Maybe they're ready to let one of these rip right up there. So coming back up to the top of the base. Possible breakout of this grinder box. Maybe today, maybe Monday. We'll see what happens, okay? Got to clear all those wicks. All right? I think it's coming. We'll see. Notice they went up and they're holding the higher ground. I like that. That's one of my favorite moves. That is a bullish environment. Whenever you see price move up, hold the higher ground. That is definitely a bullish environment. It's much better than having price move up and then give it up, okay? When price moves up, gives it up, that's just neutral, all right? But when you get price to move up, hold that higher ground, that's bullish right there. That's a bullish environment. Look at that gap up. Gap ups are always bullish. All right, that shows me, look, we're not far from that gap and the bears failed to fill it. That tells me the bulls have control. All right, so I like that whenever I see that the bulls have control like that, okay? That helps inspire me to stay in that position a little bit longer, okay? So there's another one, MAG. The next one is, I think I said BYOB. We did 5. We got one more, M-chip. Let's see, MCHP. Let me try one more time here. MCHP. All right, look at MCHP here, breaking out over the prior high. See right here? We're breaking out up over that. So it's breaking out of that grinder box, shooting off to make another higher high. Not like in the red candle, but at least it didn't fully engulf this green candle. So M-chip breaking out to new highs right there. All right, I am in Intel. I like Intel right here. All right, and we have a downtrend line. All right, that's actually right there. Okay, so maybe Intel can make it up over this downtrend line, hopefully today or tomorrow. Nice gap up this morning, up to 22.81. Hope they get some follow through. That would be nice. On Intel, I'm looking at a possible bullish MMRP, and that would be a 3-candle, 2-hour time frame bullish MMRP. We'll see where we go with that, but I'm looking for Intel for more highs and breaking up over this downtrend line. So let's look at the 2-hour. So you can see it takes 3 candles to bust up here. All right, and then I'm looking at 3 candles rest, or maybe 4 candles. Okay, I'm looking at 3 candles of rest. right through here, 1, 2, 3. And now we've got 3 candles of consolidation. So we got one group of candles. Now I'm looking for this next 3 2-hour candles to make a higher low and a higher high. So the high for that is 22.64, and you can see the next group of 3 candles is already off, making a higher high than this group of 3 candles. So I box them off. Let me box them off so I can show you what we got here. So let me get the box. Let me get the right size. Okay, so here's the igniting move. Okay, right here is the rest. I'm on the 2-hour chart, and we're going to use groups of 3 2-hour candles. Here's a 3-hour rest, or two rest right there. We've got 3 right there, and I'm looking for the next 3 to produce a higher low and a higher high. So that would be the high, the low there. So I'm looking for a higher high. You can see we're already up at 222.82 right there. And then I'm looking for another group of 3 candles to produce, yet again, another higher high and a higher low, okay? And we compare this group to this group, all right? So you may get some red candles in here, all right? That would be normal. But right now, I'm looking at Intel to produce a bullish 3-candle, 2-hour time frame MMRP, where this group of 3 candles makes higher low and a higher high. This group will make a higher low and a higher high than the previous group, and then the last group here will be 3 more 2-hour candles that again make a higher low and a higher high than the previous group, okay? And we may even get a 4th one, all right? It happens sometimes, all right? I only count on 3, but we may get a 4th one where price makes a higher low and a higher high, all right? So I'm looking for probably Intel to come back up here, probably up to $23.50, $24 over by next week, probably before July 4th anyways, all right? So Intel's looking fantastic. Got to break that downtrend line. I think they can do it. But you can see this is the bullish MMRP. This is market maker's reversal pattern. You can see price pulling back, and now we ignite out of there. Now we start to J-hook off of the support area. You can see this, my green box. That was my buy box. We never got quite down there to it when they found support a little higher up. And now I'm looking for price to rip up over this downtrend line. Hopefully they get a nice igniting moves, all right? Maybe up to 24. That would be nice. Right now in the morning, we're up to 22.82. I like that. Just keep grinding up. I hope they continue to melt up or blast off even further up. We'll see. So that's the bullish MMRP on Intel right there that I'm in. All right, so that was all of the positions here. I'm showing you 5 was starred, MAG was starred, Joby was starred, M-Chip was starred. Usually when I star them, they're in little grinder box breakouts. I call them a grinder box because what they're doing is they're doing what I like to see, all right? And what I like to see is, of course, price move up, hold that higher ground, and when they hold that higher ground, that's the grinder box. And what they're doing is they're grinding away at the overhead supply, okay? It means, you know, it's not going to take 1 4-hour candle and they're going to cut through it. It takes sometimes a week or 2 to grind away at that overhead supply, buy it all up, you know, and then finally they can get a breakout, okay? So that's what we look for, okay? Price moving up, holding that higher ground, okay? Because if you're not interested, think about it. If you're not interested in going higher when you get up here, then and buying all of the overhead supply, then you might as well just give it up. All right? It makes no sense to buy all of this inventory up here unless, of course, you're going to go higher. Right? It just doesn't make sense. Think about that, okay? So that's why we like those grinder box that move up and hold the higher ground. That's a preferable box. That's a preferable setup because you're looking for this to move up higher. And the market, look at the tailwind. Look at the market. Market is moving up. Okay, it's not just one or two. Look at the indexes making new all-time highs. So you got tailwinds behind you to help push these securities that are in those grinder box, push them up to make new highs. All right, that means we're trading with the trend. All right, we're trading with the market, and it's so much easier when you're trading with the market and you got a tailwind behind you. Oh my God, it's so much easier than trying to get something to move up in a downtrend. All right, it's talk about a struggle. You don't even want to deal with that. It's not worth it. All right, there's much easier trades out there to find. All right, and these are some of them. You want that market tailwind behind you. Yes, absolutely, Jim. I will talk about it. You want that market tailwind behind you. You want that because that's going to help inspire them to move up. Let's think about it, okay? If the market's moving up, then probably think about this. Maybe 50 to 80% of the other securities in their sector, all right, are probably also moving up because the whole market's moving up. You see what I'm saying? If 20 or 30% of your competition or the people in your sector are also moving up, all right, it makes it easier for investors to get behind yours and move it up with the other ones in the sector, because if the sector's moving up, usually they all move up as a group. Now, there'll be some that make new all-time highs while the rest of the market kind of stands still, and there'll be some that are outliers that have already made their all-time highs and on their way back down. Okay, but when the whole sector moves up as a group, as you can see, it will help drag this higher. So that's why we often say, as instructors, you'll hear Rick and Doug and myself, you want that market tailwind with you. All right, the market's moving up. All right, so now's the time to look for bullish securities to trade in the upward momentum or the upward direction. So you want to find a nice trend that found a grinder box and look for that to break out. All right, so I just got through sharing all that. Let's get down to a little business here. Let's get this out of the way. All right, and let's look at, so Intel, there you go. Bullish MMRP, 3-candle pattern, 2-hour time frame. All right. All right, let's take a look at SPY. All right, back to SPY. Look at SPY. SPY was up around 614.40. Pretty much what I said yesterday at the evening video. We're probably going to find ourselves up there over in the overnight action. Sure enough, we made new highs in the overnight action. All right, let's look at this game plan here. All right, again, don't forget, next Friday we're closed because it's July 4th. All right, so we're not picking 7-day Friday options. We're picking 6-day Thursday options for next week. All right, now the week after, that Friday we're open. So, of course, we got 14 days till expiration. All right, you can see what happened. My SPY pivot, 610.80. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. You can see where price moved up here and found some resistance. And you can look where price got on top of it and found some support. So that's my pivot for today. You got red erases green. All right, a red erases green entry under 609.90. All right, right underneath that tail. See that tail on that green candle there? Right underneath that tail, I would look for price to come down to this area right here, which is 608.32, and try to fill gap. No guarantees that it will, but market's really bullish. We'll see what happens. All right, now when the market's sitting up here at new all-time highs, a lot of birthday trades. I look for my birthday trade. If you don't know where that cut sheet is, it's up in there in the files section. Let me see if I can dig that out for my traders. Okay, the cut sheet for that is found right here in files, and you come over to images, and I think you come down to well, way down here to 2023, a little bit further, and the birthday trade it's around here somewhere, and it's not here. It's right up here. That's where it is. Here's the birthday trade defined right there. There's the cut sheet for that. Okay, you can find that in the file section, and you go to images, and right there. So there's our birthday trade, and it's nice because when products are hitting new all-time highs, that's a strategy that I like to use a lot. You'll see base breakouts, all right, up there at those all-time highs shoot up because there's nothing over to the left for them to target, and then they'll bounce back to the base, and then they'll fall back to the base and bounce twice as high. Okay, so that's that birthday trade. That's what I call that. All right, so watch that for birthday trades while the market's up here at new all-time highs. Okay, so price, look, 614.40. All right, that's a new all-time high for SPY. All right, I like 6 days till expiration Thursday options. Okay, on the multiple of 5, I like 14 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5, aka or e.g. 610. All right, 605, 615, 620. Okay, I like Friday options because they got more open interest. I like the multiple of 5 because they got more open interest. More open interest to me equals higher liquidity. Higher liquidity means tighter bid-ask spread, and that means less slippage, and I like that. Okay, so I like that. That's what I like. I like them $5 to $15 out of the money. That's because they're not going to give me the performance that and in the money, but they offer less risk. I like the idea of less risk. All right, much more than the performance. All right, you want penny for penny performance. Most of the time, it's almost all the time going to be that in the money zero DTE option. All right, that will probably give you close to penny for penny performance. Look at that, 614.24 over here. All right, so I also like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, breaking up and away from VWAP. All right, so, and I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP, breaking away and down from VWAP. So what did we trade yesterday? Well, you can see we had a 10-minute uptrend yesterday that we traded over VWAP. Yep, same thing. We bought it. All right, nice, easy trade. All right, not only that, it was a trend day. All right, the trend day is when you get that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP between the hours of 11 and noon. All right, if it can stay up there over VWAP, that whole 10-minute uptrend, there's a good chance, all right, that 10-minute trend will last until 2:30 or later. Okay, you can see here's the 10-minute uptrend. You got the 3 on top of the 8. All right, so there's space in there. You can see daylight the whole way. All right, all the way up to 2:30. All right, and then there's a 30 to 40% chance that price will close at the end of the day darn near the high of the day. Okay, and look what happened. We closed at the end of the day near the high of the day. Okay, so that was the trend day right there. SPY game plan. 11 and noon. You can see when we get that 11 to noon, that it helps inspire me to pick up some options and hold them for that possible end of day, high of day performance. All right, makes it easier for me to do that because I know this pattern well as trend day. All right, up over Between 11 and noon, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. VWAP is this brown line. Look at the space between price action and VWAP. Look at the trend up here. You got space in between VWAP and the price action. All right, that's opportunity for me. All right, again, if I get a 10-minute uptrend that originates, okay, and it's over VWAP down here, I don't wait for the green erases red entry. Okay, oftentimes I will trade it once it passes over the pivot, or sometimes before. Same with the green, the 10-minute downtrend. Sometimes they will originate up here, all right, and they haven't really reached the red erases green entry down here. Okay, and I will oftentimes trade those under VWAP, or especially if they're under the pivot. In other words, I'll trade them on their way back down to this area right there. Okay, so I don't wait for the green erases red. Oftentimes, if I got a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, I'm going to trade it. All right, what I really like in this environment right now, all right, is I'm going to spell it out to you. All right, this is a lot of my success is looking at it. We're in an environment right now which is unique. All right, so I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. But wait, all right, I like them when they're inside of 2-hour uptrends. And I like it when those two are inside of a daily uptrend. And I like it when those three are inside of a weekly uptrend. All right, you can see the pattern here, right? And I like it when those 4, all right, are inside of a monthly uptrend, okay? And I like it when those 5, you can see the pattern, are all over the all-time high anchored VWAP, okay? That's my setup, my perfect scenario. That is a struggle-free trade most of the time. All right, that right there is the struggle-free trade. All right, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside the 2-hour uptrend. That is inside the daily uptrend. That is inside the weekly uptrend. That is inside the monthly uptrend. That is on all of that over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay. That spells profits. That spells easy trading. Stay with the trend. All right? It's much easier to make money when you stay with the trend. Tailwinds make sailing so much easier than headwinds. When you're sailing with headwinds, you got to tack and turn and tack and turn, tack and turn. All right? That's hard. That's hard work. All right? Tacking and turning, okay? All right, when you got tailwinds, oh, it's easy. Just hoist the sail and just sit back and crack a beer or open the bottle of wine, all right? It's much easier when you got tailwinds. All right, so there's SPY, all right? You got the game plan, all right? Green erases red, over 612.05. All right, red erases green, under 609.90 right there, okay? Here's the clue. Look at this. Another clue. Bullish clue, all right? Not just moving up and holding the higher ground. Okay, look at this. Bullish gap up yesterday, not filled by the bears. That's telling you who's in control, all right? That tells me the bulls are in control. The bulls have the ball. The bulls own the day. Whenever I see bullish gap ups that aren't filled by the bears, bears are weak, bulls have the ball, bulls have control. I want those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I want those 10-minute uptrends. Those are what I want. Look at this. Same thing 3 days ago, okay? Big gap up, hold the higher ground. That's bullish. Again, right here, bulls have control. Look at this. Gap up, not filled by the bears. Bears are weak. Bulls are in control. Okay? No sign of bears yet. All right? We do it again. We did it again yesterday. And look at this. We may do it again today. Look at price up here around 614. All right? So here it is. How am I going to trade SPY? I'm going to look for those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. All right? On the opening candle, I will block off the first 15 minutes of price action and wait for the breakout. All right? And that's probably the side I will go with. Hopefully it's going to be bullish. All right? On the SPY game plan. I'm going to block off the first 15 minutes while the market's open. I will look for whoever breaks out of that box after I box it off. All right? That's my plan. All right? So there's SPY. Let's take a look at, you can see we got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. You can see the 3 EMA, that's the yellow line up over the 8 EMA. Okay, so that's 10-minute uptrend. You got daylight, okay, between the 3 and the 8, and the 3 is on top of the 8. That makes an uptrend for me, all right? That's 10-minute uptrend. Let's look at the 2-hour chart. I'm going to zoom in here again. You can see, I'll clear that up. Okay, you can see the 3, that's the yellow line. See, 3 EMA up over the 8 EMA. That's the white line. Okay, see that? That's a 2-hour uptrend. Okay, so we have 10-minute uptrends inside the 2-hour uptrends. Okay, what did I say about that? On the daily chart, what do we got? Look at this. Price closing with a higher low and a higher high over the bullish trap. That's always bullish. Over the 17 EMA. That's bullish. Look at the consolidation breakout here. Okay, let's box this off. You can see that consolidation breakout. Look at that. Breakout. Love that. Breakout. Okay, consolidation breakout. SPY on the daily chart. Again, higher low, higher high, closing over the trap. That's always bullish when you're closing over a bullish trap. Closing over the rising 17. That's bullish. All right? So we're looking for, listen, you're going to have a much easier day if you just wait for the 10-minute uptrends. Okay? Counter trends may make you money, but let me just say, your trading will be much easier. It will be comfortable. It will be fun. All right? Believe it or not, it will get fun. All right? When you have tailwinds and you're trading those 10-minute uptrends. Okay? So there's SPY on the daily chart moving up. All right? Let's take a peek at this with the quad lines on there. All right? So we can see where we are. All right? So I'll back way out. Okay? You can see here's price action. Look at this. Consolidation over prior consolidation. That's always a bullish environment in my book. Okay? And hence, what did we get? We got the breakout. All right? There it is. There's the breakout. All right? So there's SPY on the daily chart. Okay? We're making higher lows. We're making higher highs. We're in an uptrend. That's always bullish. Price action. Okay? Up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay? That's bullish. As long as it's moving up, it's bullish. Okay? Candles closing over bullish traps. That's bullish over the 17 EMA. See the green dots? That's always bullish right up there. Okay, you got price holding the higher ground. That's always bullish. All right, all of these are bullish clues. All right, all you got to do is wait for those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. All right, just wait. It's going to come. It'll materialize. If it doesn't happen today, it'll probably happen Monday or Tuesday. Okay, just be patient, and when it comes, you can nail it. All right, there's SPY on the daily chart. Okay, now, because we're hitting new all-time highs, we now have a daily uptrend, a 2-day uptrend. We now have a 3-day uptrend, and we now have a weekly uptrend. All right, all of those charts, 2-day, 3-day, weekly, because we hit new all-time highs, we took out the prior high. All right, so we took out the all-time highs, so we're now in weekly uptrends, 2-day uptrends, 3-day uptrends, And of course, we're still in a monthly uptrend because we never made a lower low. All right, so there's SPY. Okay, now just want to share this with you. Let's go back to the daily chart, and you see the consolidation over consolidation that I talk about. Okay, this is Wall Street buying the dip. Okay, I'm just going to share this. Okay, this is Wall Street buying the dip. Okay, Wall Street's just like us. They want a 2-for-1 risk reward. Okay, so this would be the risk. Here's the reward. Now I'm being conservative. I'm not even including all this tail and all of this price action here. Okay, so excuse me. You can see if we do a 1-to-1 risk reward, Wall Street bought the dip. Okay, that takes us 1-to-1, 655. Okay, the market moves in synchronicity. I don't know if you've ever seen it. All right, but you can see what often happens on the southern side will often happen on the northern side. Okay, so just saying, like, whatever happened here may happen up here. Okay, so they bought the dip. Just 1-to-1 risk reward takes us up to 655, 656. Okay, 2-for-1 risk reward. See if I can drag this down to get that number. Takes us up to 736. Okay, and that's being conservative. All right, I'm just saying, market's on fire right now. Market's hot. Market's got tailwinds. All right, just saying this is possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's possible. All right, that we wind up here 650, maybe even 730. Okay, it's possible. All right, we'll wait and see. Let me just say this, it's looking good so far. All right, so there's SPY, and let's go look at QQQ. All right, I got to get through this day. I spent way too much time training you guys. All right, QQQ, let's hit the scratch. All right, okay, you can see QQQ makes a new all-time high. Okay, whenever it's making a new all-time high, let me just say it doesn't get any better than that. Okay, I don't have to prove that it's bullish. All-time high says it all. All right, doesn't matter if it's in an uptrend, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the uptrend line, over the 17 EMA. New all-time high says it all. All right, there's nothing left to be said. Drop the mic. New all-time high. Okay, QQQ. All right, definitely working out bullish in an uptrend. You get the deal. All right, let's look at the game plan. Okay, game plan says, what does the game plan say? All right, here's the QQQ game plans. Again, 6 DTE Thursday options or 14 DTE Friday options. Okay, same thing. All right, over. All right, like $5 to $15 out of the money. That means less risk. All right, but less performance. But I'm fine with that. Okay, I'm fine with less risk. I like that. Okay. I like them on the multiple of 5, so 550, 545, 555, you get the gist. Just got QQQ pivot, 545.25, above it I'm a bull. Again, just like SPY, above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Again, I'm looking for 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. It's the same thing, all right? It's really quite boring, all right, because we always look for the same thing. But you know what? It works, all right? I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. All right. I like a bearish red erases green entry underneath. That's not where it goes. I don't know why things move around on me. That actually belongs down here. Okay. So red erases green under 543.65. Green erases red over 546.50. I don't know why the red one always moves. The green one and the gold one always stay put, but the red one seems to float around whenever I come back to this chart. I don't get it. All right, so there's 546.50, green erases red entry, and red erases green, 543.65. That's the bearish entry to the downside. Okay, you saw it, QQQ, new all-time high. Let's try to run through this real quick the rest of the day. All right, IWM. All right, you got consolidation over prior consolidation. That's bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. Okay, look at the price candle for yesterday. Closing over the trap, over the 17. That's always bullish. Almost in the upper third. They're getting ready to strike. All right, almost in the upper third, not quite there yet, but acting bullish right now. Okay, so you can see we're in neutral land. We're not in the we're not in the upper third. We're not in the lower third. So we're not up here or above, like up here. Okay, anywhere up here, all right, would be bullish over this line. Okay, under here, this would be bearish, and the lower third is bearish. So down here is bearish. Up here is bullish. All right, so we're in neutral land. This is neutral land right through here. Okay, not in the upper third, but we're acting bullish. So this is looking good. All right, so there's IWM. Okay, everybody put in a higher low and a higher high yesterday. Diamond Dow. Okay, up in quadrant 4. Okay, we all know that's bullish up there. Okay, higher low, higher high over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Looking fantastic. Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at FNGU. Okay, FNGU, quadrant 4. That's bullish. Again, over the trap, over the 17, over the uptrend line. Okay, almost ready to put in a new all-time high. Okay, FNGU, daily chart. That's bullish. Again, look at the consolidation on all these. Okay, they all got a little consolidation. Look at that, consolidation over prior consolidation, and now we're getting a breakout. Maybe we get more consolidation. We'll see. Okay, over consolidation. That's always bullish. Okay, so there's FNGU. That's bullish. All right, let's take a look at T2122. Okay, T2122. Yesterday, we spent the day in the buy zone, and we made an appearance inside the overbought zone right up here. Okay, so I got a hunch today we wind up spending the day in the overbought zone. I got a hunch. All right, so watch for that to probably happen. All right, not saying it will, but I got a hunch that's where we're going to be. All right, so there's buy zone up here, T2122. I think we spend the day maybe waffling back and forth between overbought and buy zone. All right, T2122, T2123. All right, this is yesterday's price action. Look at this, green from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Look at this. Here's your clue right here. Bullish gap up, not filled by the bears, and consolidating at the highs. That's winding up for a breakout, and they gave you the breakout. Look at that. Bullish gap up, not filled by the bears, holding the higher ground. All of this, look, there's your tailwinds. Boom. There you go. A little blast off there. Okay, green from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Love it. Okay, up over the 200 SMA. That's always bullish. Okay, there's the rally high. There's a prior rally high right there on the 13th. Look at this. New rally high. Okay, right up there. New rally high. 636.004 right there. Okay, looking good. This is uptrend. That's bullish. Making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend. 3-bar chart. It's the same product. All right, with a 3-bar chart. Again, you've got consolidation. Okay, over prior consolidation. Okay, so if we take all of this, okay, see that? Over prior consolidation. And we got more consolidation over prior consolidation. That's bullish. Okay, now we get breakouts. Now we're looking for more consolidation. Okay, over prior consolidation. Look at price structure, move up, hold the higher ground. Okay, you know that's bullish. Okay, traders, look, it's bullish until we're not. Okay, that's all there is to it. We're bullish until we're not. Okay? Try to stay on the right side. All right? Your trading will be so much easier. Have the patience to wait for the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Just have the patience to wait for that. All right? You'll be rewarded. Your day will be so much easier. You'll sleep so much easier, okay? It'll be less of a struggle, okay? Just have the patience to wait for that, all right? We're bullish. Bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Huge gap up, okay? Okay, more clues. Look at all these clues. Gap up, not filled by the bears. Another gap up yesterday, not filled by the bears. 3 more green candle bars put in yesterday, separating. Look at the candle separating from the 17 EMA, like that, okay? T2123, up over the flat 200 SMA, that's bullish. Okay, look at price structure, okay? Move up, okay? Price structure moves up, holds the higher ground, moves up, holds the higher ground. Now it's moving up again, okay? That's bullish. T2123 3-bar chart. FNGU. Okay, take that off. FNGU. Okay, look at this. Another gap up. Not filled by the bears. Look at the price action up over VWAP. That's bullish. Green from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, and in the post-market and in the pre-market. Over the 200 SMA. Okay, that's bullish. Look at this. Okay, that's bullish over the all-time, over this uptrend line, over the all-time pink line, all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. Look at the consolidation. This is your clue. Over prior consolidation. Bullish. And here's the reward. Right there. Okay? This is what we're looking for. This is bullish. And then there's the reward. Okay, look at these bullish traps not getting filled by the bears. Okay, bulls are in control. Okay? The bulls are in control. I don't know how many times to say it or how to say it any better than that. They're in control. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors. We'll run through these real quick. All right, and then we'll hit the economic package. All right, first one, XLE. I'm just going to run through them quick. It's neutral. It's not in the upper third, not in the lower third. And you're underneath all-time high anchored VWAP. And you see, you gave up and you gave it up. All right? You went up and you gave it up. That's neutral. Okay? XLE. USO. Again, you went up, you gave it up. That's neutral. Okay? It's neutral. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the 3-year high anchored VWAP, post-COVID high there. Okay? Just neutral. Right there. Okay? Unable to hold the higher ground. UNG. UNG makes a lower low. Here's a low. They made a lower low. So they lost. They were in an uptrend after yesterday. Now they're in a new downtrend. Okay? They're down in the lower third. That's bearish. And you're showing a head and shoulders pattern. Here's the head, right shoulder, left shoulder. Breaking the neckline right here. That's not quite the right candle to break the neckline with to get bearish, but if they get below that tail, probably coming down to visit the all-time lows again. Okay, so there's UNG. Daily chart, downtrend, bearish, all right? Okay, there's UNG. Gold and silver, both in uptrends. Okay, gold holding the higher ground, quadrant 4, that's bullish. Okay, silver. Again, up in quadrant 3, look at the move up, over the trap, over the 17, that's bullish. That's a 12-year high anchored VWAP. That's a new 12-year high right up there, okay? Look at this, it's acting bullish. Look at it move up, hold the higher ground. That's bullish. All right, let's take a look at SMH. All right, quadrant 4, look at that breakout. Again, consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, that's bullish. All right, and then here's your reward right there. Boom. Okay, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. Quadrant 4, bullish. All right, SMH. XLK making new all-time highs. I don't know what happened there. New all-time highs for XLK. See the daylight over here? New all-time highs. That's, I don't know, just drop the mic. There's nothing else to be said. New all-time high says it all. XLF. Quadrant 4, all right? Holding the higher ground over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. Okay? IYT. IYT finally waking up, all right? I'm going to give it to him in the upper third. Yesterday, closing in the upper third. That's bullish up there. Because I'm being generous today because I feel good. All right? So IYT, finally bullish. So now we got technology and semiconductors bullish. You got transports bullish. And we got financials bullish. We got a falling dollar. We have got the perfect storm, all right, for bullishness to happen. All right, you've got 3 of the Trinity in uptrends, all right? That's financials, technology, all right, and transports. Transports tell you that shelves are getting, people are buying products off the shelves and they're getting restocked, okay? That's what the transports tell you. Transports tell you that big equipment is being moved into location for production. Things like cranes, concrete, boom trucks, all that kind of stuff. Personnel, all right? Heavy loaders, heavy equipment, all right? That's showing you things are getting moved around the country, all right? And that things are getting sold and goods and services are being purchased, all right? So that's telling you things are moving when the transports are in an uptrend and up in the upper third. That would be bullish, okay? So you got the Trinity, all 3, and a falling dollar. This is a beautiful environment right now. This is the time. This is the place. Look for those 10-minute uptrends, especially over VWAP, okay? So there's IYT. There's the transports. Let's visit the economic package and let's end this day, all right? Get it going. All right, SPY Max Pain 607. That's for the calls and puts that expired today at 4:15. 607 is Max Pain. I don't think we're coming back to 607, but we might. Fridays are kind of freaky. All right, put the call ratio 1 3/4 puts for each call. All right, so not much of a put squeeze there, but there is something going on. All right, so there's Max Pain. For the dollar, look at the falling dollar. This is the lowest it's been in, the last time we were down here was 2022. Okay, that's 3 years ago. Over 3 years ago. Over 3 years ago was the last time we were down here. Okay, here's the major support. Okay, right through here. We broke major support. That makes this minor resistance now. Okay, so we're underneath, and look at price move down and in a bear flag. Okay, that's bearish. Okay, I think we're in for a really big rally. I really do. I really do. Bear flag, downtrend, this is looking great. As long as nothing freaky happens, all right, this is good. All right, so bear flag, dollars in a downtrend. Look at the lower highs and the lower lows, downtrend. Economic calendar, what do we got today? We've got personal income and outlays at 8:30. Thank you, Alan. Consumer sentiment at 10 and a recount at 1. That's it. All right, and on the earnings front, nothing here that's going to move the markets today. Just some familiar names, but nothing. Nobody's really ready right there. Core inflation rate rises. Alan shared this with us. Thank you, Alan. All right. Core inflation rose to 2.7 in May, more than expected. Fed's preferred gauge, I think it's 2.1 or 2.5. All right, so a little bit up, creeped up just a little bit. But they expected that. Oh, wait, more than expected. I think they expected it under 2.5. So that means probably going to hold off on those rate cuts a little bit longer. All right, so we'll see what happens. Thanks, Jim. All right, that's it for me for today. I got to get this video out. It's 9 o'clock. Everybody in podcast land and digital land is probably going to be waiting for it. Thank you, everybody here in the room, for bearing with me through that 1 hour of entertainment. All right, so I'll see you guys in about 25 minutes, and we'll open up the market. We're going to box off the first 15 minutes, all right, and try to find a breakout. All right, so that's what we'll look for. Okay, I'll see you guys in about 25 minutes.